I'm here doing a landscape estimate. Sundial in the dead bush. Pretty cool. Looks like the thermometer works. Oh. Some white-tailed deer. Yeah, cleaning it up around here. Dead bush is gonna go bye-bye. Live bush is gonna stay. Maybe get a little smaller. Yeah, clean all that up. There's another pond through there. It's a huge magnolia tree. And they start sprouting up more magnolia trees. So that might need to get tamed a little bit. That's a big magnolia tree. Pretty big. That's a big tree. They said they wanted to clean up the area around the pond. Clean up around the pond. Clean up around the pond. Cool. Clean that area up. These bushes can get reduced or go bye-bye. These are pretty. Honeysuckle thing. Here's a pond. It smells so good out here. These flowers, these honeysuckle trees. What? This thing. For this landscaping project, all the vegetation removal, a lot of it is going to be ornamental plants that are already here, like this dark green bush is huge. This can be trimmed up. This holly tree up here could get trimmed up a couple of feet so you can see it from the street. Some of these little saplings and stuff can go bye-bye like that. And maybe some of these other ones, this walkway here is going to be cleared back significantly, even though it's pretty right now. There's Japanese maple tree back there, we'll keep that. A lot of this vinca vine undergrowth is probably all going to get burned down with the weed eater. You try to keep it under control. Some of this Virginia creeper will be in there, no big deal. But what we don't want is English ivy, especially. And I'm glad there's not a whole lot of that. There is in places, but that's usually got to go. I want to point out, since I've already done a video of a huge oak tree that had fallen over and it was totally infested with English ivy. And here's a tree that's still alive. You can see these oak trees that are around it and other kinds of trees. See, somebody killed the ivy and vines that are on that tree, so that's good. And that's what we want to do to this tree right there, is go next to that hemlock looking tree. I think it's a hemlock, evergreen, conifer thing. This oak tree with the English ivy growing all over it is not in the best of health. And what happens when we get a big heavy thunderstorm of rain, the English ivy will soak it up before the tree can get to it. So the tree underneath starts to get brittle, and then with the heavy weight of the ivy, it can suck the water up faster than the tree can. Then the tree is more likely to crack and break and fall over. So that's something I'm gonna have to address on this landscape, is cutting through these vines and making sure they die. And eventually they'll fall and break as the tree continues growing. Like this tree, you can see it's trying to grow back on that tree, but someone's obviously killed them before. There's a lot of dead vines up there. So yeah, these English ivy vines, like in this tree also, look at those trees. Yeah, they've got the English ivy really bad. And eventually the English ivy can't grow any higher, and the English ivy, when it gets to that life stage, it'll actually flower. Or after the tree falls over, when it realizes it's gone as far as it can, it'll flower. Usually English ivy not really known for flowering because it usually spreads and spreads until it can't anymore. It gets to the top of a tree or a bush, and then it'll flower. So it's invasive to Virginia, and it causes damage, and it shortens the lifespans of big trees like this, and it can take them over pretty quick. 10 years or so, if not left in check, then they get bad like that or like that. A lot of these trees have the English ivy really growing up on them. This one's leaning over. You can see it. Alright, this is the street view of the property. First thing right here is this dead tree next to the fire hydrant. Kind of near the power lines. Would it hit the power lines? No, it wouldn't hit the power lines. It wouldn't hit the power lines. Now right here, because we have a roadway right here and we have a pond right there, anything that holds the soil in place is good, even if it is an invasive. So the thing that makes it such a pain in the ass is also why it's a great ground cover for a slope like this, where we have a driving surface where it's going to be high, it needs to be compacted and sturdy. And then we have a water feature, a pond right here. So this hillside needs to stay in place. So we're not going to, chop down all these trees or pull up all this ivy. But we'll trim it up a little bit to let some more sunlight in and show it off a little bit, because it's a pretty cool pond. But I'm not going to go in here, like, for example, and try to kill all this English ivy. It's not threatening any huge trees, and it's holding this hillside in place. So most of the time, English ivy are a pain in the ass, but sometimes you work out all right. Just have to keep it under control. This is like the overflow drainage for the pond here, where it overflows. I might need to take a closer look at that. Looks like there's poison ivy there. Great. Yep. That's a place where somebody could drive right into that pond. Shoot. Fence ends right there. There's a yard with that little clearing.